Thank you very much, Lady K, and thank you all esteemed members of the technical team that are making this thing to happen. I welcome everybody to today's webinar, the engagement that we usually have on the first Saturday of every month. For those who have been regular participants, well, it's easy for you to follow. However, we know that on every session, there are people who are joining us for the first time. And so for the benefit of those joining today, Talking Trade and Investment Global Trade is actually our own attempt to contribute to public awareness and education on this very, very critical subject, sensitive, but indispensable to national economic development, international trade. It cuts across borders. So where we started, we were supposed to be talking trade and investment global. A lot of the people here, both in the technical team and in the participants database, even though we have the privilege of dual nationalities, we always remember that we were born originally in Nigeria. So apologies to nationals of other countries who have been following us. If you think that we have been kind of tilting our topics more towards Nigeria, apologies. So the International Trade Center has always said that the global marketplace is an economic battlefield, and the arsenal, the weapons that are required are actually what we call knowledge. So when you talk about export readiness, capacity building, awareness, and technical preparation, that's what we are trying to offer on Talking Trade and Investment Global. Like Lady K said, we have had several high-profile, world-class speakers, very relevant to international trade engagement and development here. Then last time around in May, we had the CEO of the Nigeria Export Promotion Council, Dr. Ezra Yakusak, talking about the mantra export for survival, and then presenting the approach they wanted that they will be adopting to ensure that Nigeria's economy becomes non-oil export driven. And so when I had a discussion with Mr. Ahmed Kontagora, who is the president of National Shea Product Association, it just occurred to us that it will be a logical continuation to have the role of the commodities exchange. Why? Because we have export for survival, but it appears that the field is not coordinated. There has been a gap since Nigeria scrapped the commodity boards and did not introduce anything in the place for a very long time, until recently, when we now started having the commodities exchanges. But it does not appear as if the community, the non-oil export community, has enough awareness of the existence of the commodities exchanges and the very critical role that they have to play in repositioning Nigeria and in regulating and bringing sanity into the commodities field. Of course, when we say commodities, you will see, and I'm sure that Mr. Kontagora is going to take us through beyond raw agricultural commodities. I'm not the speaker. I'm just trying to throw light on what we're going to be talking about today. So it's export for survival, the role of the commodities exchange. And Mr. Kontagora is going to be linking, and his co-speakers will hopefully be linking this with the national plan as introduced last month by Dr. Ezra Yapusak for Export for Survivor. And so once again, it is my pleasure to welcome us all and to wish us very exciting, very fruitful deliberations today. Please feel free to put your questions in the box, even as they are speaking, or raise your comments as soon as the floor is open later in the course of this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for really keeping to time. And like we know, we are pressed for time today, so we will really strictly be keeping to time. And before we continue, please use the chat forum to introduce yourself. Where are you joining us from? What is your name? What is your position? What is your organization? Email, phone numbers, any information that you feel comfortable sharing, please share, because you are not only here to listen to us, we are equally here to network. Thank you so very much. So now we are going to bring in, can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen, please?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. So our guest speaker today, again, is Mr. Mohammed Ahmed Kontagora. Who is he? He is an administrator. He's the president of National Association of Shea Products of Nigeria, NASPAN. His name is Mr. Mohammed Ahmed Kontagora, FACSC, MNIMN. And he's an administrator, a commodity broker, value chain advisor, and entrepreneur. His experiences cuts across both private and public sectors, where he has held various positions. He holds MBA in corporate governance, MBA in logistics and supply chains management, HND, SLT, biochemistry, PGD cooperative studies, and certificates in computer science. He also has international certifications from various international institutions covering the shea, energy, and other commodity markets. He successfully established first shea processing centers and 2 granite processing centers. In a consultancy capacity, he has organized various workshops, conferences, and seminars on value chain development across commodities in conjunction with the Nigerian Commodity Exchange, GIZ, USAID, JICA, and UNDP and PZ Nigeria. If you want to read more about his bio, you can go to femiconsulting.com. So I have the honor of bringing him here today to be our guest speaker. Thank you so very much, sir. You have 20 minutes on the clock.
Thank you very much. I hope you are sharing my presentation from on end.
Yes, we will share and we will record.
Thank you. Now let me, first of all, thank you, Boyede and your team for giving me the privilege to be here and speak on the role of commodity exchange in promoting export, that is export for survival. Now, let me start by first of all defining what is commodity exchange. Commodity exchange, simply put, is a marketing platform for efficient and transparent trading of commodities, both physical or virtual market, for transaction in commercially viable Nigerian agro-commodities and other products. And of course, in Nigeria, I have so many commodities to be traded. But I want to take us back a bit, because in the course of introduction, Mr. Boyede has mentioned about the marketing boards. Prior to now, during the regional government, we used to have 4 regional marketing boards. Northern Nigeria Marketing Board, Eastern Nigeria Marketing Board, Western Nigeria Marketing Board, and the Northern Cameroon Marketing Board. Then Northern Cameroon was part of Nigeria. Those marketing boards were further developed into other commodities, into commodity specific.
She's inside.
Please unmute yourself, Mr. Kontagora.
Yes.
Who is the person?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Please. Yes.
Okay. It was really a platform for us to trade commodities. As at that time, the system is well organized, such a way that a farmer before harvest, he knows where his market is. Those commodity boards were fizzled out, were scrapped in the name of deregulating the agriculture sector when we took IMF somewhere around 1986. And what is the result? The resultant effect is that government lost revenue because there was no efficient organized system that government can collect revenue from our commodities. That's number one. Number two, the farmer. Of course, the farmer is number one victim because when you had the commodity exchange, the commodity voters at that time, a farmer is being guided, he's been advised. He knows his local buying agent. There is an appointed local buying agent. There were adequate infrastructure as at that time. So when all that were removed, it will become a problem for both the government and as well as the farmer. Of course, what that means is that if you want, typical example, if today you said, I want 1,000 tons of Shea nut, it will be Herculean tax for you to go and find a particular location that you can pick it. You have to start collecting. But as at that time, there was nothing like that. Now, with the advent of the commodity exchange, now we are virtually restoring what we used to have, which means we are all aware that ordinary market like Wuse, if you go to Wuse, Mile 12 or Ariara, they are not governed by any formal rule or whatsoever. But the commodity exchange, it is being, there is a guided rule. You have the appointed warehouse, collateral warehouse managers. There are a lot of there will be provision for infrastructure. Now, which means somebody sitting in Lagos can go into the platform under the platform of the commodity exchange. His agent can trade for him. He can buy any commodity, and of course, he can procure if he likes. He can do hedging. He can buy in advance. He can store it for him to move as at the time he wanted. Now, what is the features of the COMEX? Now, the commodity exchange, there are so many features. Of course, a formal market bound by rules and regulation. There is a lot of rule and regulation, unlike what is obtainable in our local market. And then there is structure. There is a formal structure, which includes membership, operational processes and procedures, trading hours, clearing and settlement structure, IT infrastructure, quality assurance, warehousing, insurance, bond, and all sorts of, including deposit and delivery procedure, etc. It's just a formal ecosystem. It is a formal ecosystem whereby every player, every actor across the value chain interest is being protected. Now, today, the commodity exchange we have now in Nigeria lacks so many things. And one of them, of course, is the infrastructure. For you to make a success of any commodity exchange, you must have enough warehouses. You must have trading flow. You must have, of course, the regulators. You must also have the actual farmers. You have to link up with the farmers, the players. Virtually everybody is important across the value chain. It's an ecosystem. But what we have today is not like that. You know, immediately after harvest, the first challenge a farmer faces is that of storage facility. And can you please go to the next slide? The first challenge after a farmer after a harvest is that of storage facilities. Now, with the advent of commodity exchange, it means there will be a lot of warehouses across the producing communities, so that if a farmer harvests, he can easily take his produce to the warehouses, it will be assayed, and then he will be given a sort of receipt so that he cannot sell at the mercy of the Shylock. Now, what is happening, what is obtainable today, because there is no such infrastructure, no such structure, a farmer lives at the mercy of the Shylock agent. Some of them will advance them some money because they don't even have bargaining skill. And then there is lack of immediate cash after harvest. So they are forced, they have no alternative rather than to just sell their produce at a giveaway price. The state of commerce in the commodity exchange in Nigeria today, as I said, they have a lot of challenges. Thank God recently the CBN has intervened with the Nigerian Commodity Exchange. Mind you, we have about 4 commodity exchange now registered with the Security and Exchange Commission. Number 1, Nigerian Commodity Exchange, Lagos Commodity and Future Exchange. We have the Gaza Commodity Exchange and of course the Afri Exchange. Now these commodity exchanges are mainly private owned, apart one for the state government, that is the Lagos one, and then the second one, that of Nigerian Commodity Exchange. Now I want to use this medium to appeal to the CBN, not only to intervene in Nigerian Commodity Exchange. No, there should be a deliberate system because they all face common challenges. Now, we need to have basic domestic infrastructure for agro commodities. Now, those commodities, those who are infrastructure are going to serve as an aggregation center. Aggregation center in such a way that after harvest, the farmers can easily move their goods there. And then they have their appointed local trading agent who can license. Normally, there should be a licensed agent who can trade in the flow of the exchange, which means somebody buying Shea nut in Kenya or in any part of the world or in America can go to the commodity exchange and buy. There is an efficient transportation system whereby it can be traded, whereby it can be transported. Now, if government intervene in this, there will be more protection because the farmer out there is not organized. There is lack of input, lack of extension workers, lack of storage facilities, and so many things. Now, with the coming of the commodity exchange, the commodity is normally forecast. They have the idea of the market. They can envisage that this is what will come next year. This is the likely demand, so, and then they can forecast. Okay, they will advise the farmer. Then the farmers will harvest more, and with the facility, then of course they will produce more and then take it to the warehouse. But then to achieve this, it goes beyond only these commodity exchanges. We must have structures at the state level. The further the marketing board serve as a structure, a good structure at the grassroots level. For us to achieve, to make a success of it, the state must key into the project of developing the commodity sector. I give you an example. Sometimes back, Zamfara State got some facility and started the warehouse receiving finance scheme. What they did then was to register all their farmers, give them all the necessary input, encourage them to produce, and then as they produce, they were given guaranteed minimum price. Of course, that is one of the advantages of commodity exchange. With commodity exchange, there is a guaranteed minimum price, which means a farmer can never lose. There is always that guarantee that yes, he will get quality amount, he will get a reward for his labor. Now, in the case of Zamfara State, they got the money, got the facility, give their farmers, encourage their farmers, and indeed their farmers produce more. But what happened? They paid back with the produce because we had to pay in kind of in cash at a guaranteed minimum price. So the Zamfara State government ended up having large stock of commodities. Unfortunately for them, because they were the one that only key in. So the buyers that come around, they only move to their neighboring state because it is only in Zamfara State that key into this program. Now, with the commodity exchange, there is no way a buyer will go to the farm gate and buy goods. Thank God now, Fragama has banned the foreign companies from going to the farm gate to buy produce. This is encouraging, and I wish you can take it over. Government, I can tell you, is the number one loser in this game because there is no organized structure. Government doesn't get revenue from agricultural produce. It's an area with in Ethiopia today, if you are buying more than 5,000 tons of any commodities, you have to go to the floor of exchange. Now, what will be the invested outcome if government intervene and support it? Of course, there will be a lot of participation of social and commodity exchange operation, which will result in increased availability of relevant export commodities. As I said, of course, there will be the national GDP will increase, and then there will be a lot of impact on associated and complementary services, businesses, and the more entrepreneurship will come up. Next slide, please. Now, when you look at the fact for thought on non-oil exports from 2008 to 2017, you find that there has been a lot of increase in the commodities. I mean, it fluctuates, but we had the highest in 2013 of about $2.9 billion. And then, of course, it further falls up to it keeps falling, just because the system is not organized. If you have an organized system, because there is always demand, there will be an increase. Why is it so? The farmers are not getting value for their labor. That is very key. Nobody protects the farmer. And the farmers, because there is no organized system, they can farm at the end of the day, there is nowhere they will sell it. But given the guaranteed minimum price, this commodity exchange will obtain this produce and pay them at the guaranteed minimum price, and definitely they cannot lose out. So it is very important, very imperative for us to support this sector. Next slide, please. Now, in conclusion, we have over 40 billion naira worth of export to West African sub-region by Nigeria in 2019. Between 2019 to 2021, Nigeria exported non-oil products worth 3.4 billion. If all hands will be on deck to explore the huge potential in non-oil exports in Nigeria, we can have an increase of about 200% within 5 years. This entails quality healthcare, education, social amenities, etc. So in brief, this is my presentation on the role of the commodity exchange. Part of what I will suggest is that my suggestion is that there should be special fund, tag commodity development fund, so that we should be able to draw from that fund to build the basic infrastructure that we needed, and also to encourage the farmers. Of course, we can key in the CBN program, the Anchor Borrower. This is a good one. The Anchor Program can even serve the purpose. I'm sure a lot of people will be willing to, because the thing is that our commodity, there is demand for our commodity on daily basis. Now, let's take advantage of what is happening today. With the crisis or now there is demand for commodities. There is this saying that there will be a lot of hunger in the next few years. So let's take advantage. Let's government focus a lot of attention on the commodity exchange so that we should be able to make enough revenue, create wealth, create employment, revitalize rural economy through the commodity exchange. Thank you. My partners will talk and then to do some further expansion. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much, Mr. Kontagora. This has been so wonderful. In order to flow, I'm going to call on the next person. I know Mr. Boyede has a lot of comments. I can see his head bubbling, but because of time, we just allow the flow, and then he's going to make his comments. Thank you so very much for your wonderful presentation. Beautiful. So, not in any particular order, the next person I have here for our program today, Export for Survival, the role of the commodity exchange. His name is Roland Oletu Oro. He's founder of Rosland Group, an MD Commodities Development Initiative, CDI. Roland has a Master's of Business Administration, MBA degree, and Bachelor of Science, BSc degree in Business Administration. Yes, 25 years of combined experience in bilateral development assistance, in trade capacity building, agribusiness development, and project management. He worked for international development assistance projects and agencies, including the UK Department of International Development and the United States Agency for International Development, USAID. Roland is a firm believer in African entrepreneurship as a solution to the development challenges in the continent. In 2018, Roland was nominated to the advisory board of the Indian-based Asian African Chamber of Commerce. Thank you. I bring in Roland Oletu Oro for the next 10 minutes. Thank you so very much. I stop sharing my screen.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Boyode and the team for this opportunity. My name is Roland Oro again, and I have with me here Mr. Chris, who has worked with the Nigerian Commodity Exchange in Abuja.
Okay. One second. Okay, thank you. We can see.
Yes.
Can you put on your video, please?
Yes, so I'm going to, okay, let me put on the video.
Exactly.
All right, great. Thank you so much. So I just want to compliment what Mr. Kontagora has said. I mean, he has experience, working at the state level in Niger State, managing the Niger State Commodity Export Agency. I just want to underline a few points, that he has made about the role of the commodity exchange in terms of, supporting the agricultural value chain. We all know that it's much better to drive production from the market end. If you want to produce, it's important to keep abreast with the market, understand what the market requires, and then you now go back to produce, So the exchange provides that platform, for trading standardized products with, enforcing the rules and regulations that ensures that, quality is achieved and buyers and sellers, they can engage. There's information, there's price information and all of that, So it's good now that the emphasis is on the commodity exchange, and the experience in the last 20 years, the Nigerian Commodity Exchange was started in 2002, and this is almost 20 years, and a lot more needs to be done. And I think the government is responding now. We've seen that the central bank and the National Sovereign Wealth Fund, they have invested, to make the exchange what it ought to be. But let me say that there are critical building blocks that needs to be in place for us to achieve a very strong multi-exchange segment, within the agricultural value chain, which is the primary production, the farm level, the production of these products. We need to revisit it. We all know the state of our extension service delivery. It's not what it ought to be. And if farmers are not optimized in terms of their production practices, we don't have enough quality raw materials, then of course you may have a very weak, commodity exchange segment like we're seeing right now. So a very coordinated value chain approach that begins from the primary production level. So farmers have access to inputs, quality inputs. Let's look at it. Our yield level today is one of the lowest in the world. If you look at soya beans, for instance, we are number 2 in Africa after South Africa. Soya beans, we're doing about just 700 kilograms per hectare. The global average is 3 tons per hectare. Brazil, which is the largest producer of soya beans, they are doing about 3.4 tons per hectare. Brazil overtook America last year. The US is doing about 3 tons plus per hectare, and we are just doing 700 kilograms. So we need to look at the key value chains, the priority value chains that we want to trade, in our commodity exchange, and work backwards, ensure that the farmers have the right inputs. Our seeds are, high quality seeds, disease resistant, climate, tolerant, seeds. Our farmers, the farmer practices are, are very good practices, not practices that our forefathers used in 1920, 1930s. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done at that level, and then it goes on, upward, to the logistics, aggregation and value add, and then of course we now have a viral, commodity exchange. And don't forget that the exchange is a platform for attracting funding. All right, we need funding, we need patient capital, we need investment capital to drive production across the value chains. So the exchange plays that very important role. So we're looking forward to see how things will play out in the next few weeks, months, years, now that we have the central bank and the sovereign wealth fund investing in Nigeria's primary exchange. And of course, we have other exchanges in the country. So personally, I'm optimistic that with proper coordination across the value chains, the associations are very key. I'm happy that the NASPAN, which is the Shea association by Mr. Kontagora, they are very forthright. They have the initiative to look at the exchange as a good platform where products of Shea can be traded. I'm hoping that other association leaders will have the same vision, to use the exchange, so that the exchange can play its role of galvanizing, action, across the value chains. We've seen what Eastern Africa has done with commodity exchange, Ethiopia, Kenya. We've seen what other countries have done with the commodity exchange. So there are platforms, there are opportunities for us to learn from other countries, even within Africa, to upgrade and optimize the role of the exchange. So this conversation is very important. It's not going to end today. We'll keep talking about it. Bring necessary parties on board. There are a lot of fund programs going on right now. I'm going to allow my colleague here, Mr. Chris, who has been one of the actors in the process, to also share his thoughts. He's out of the Nigerian Commodity Exchange right now, but a lot of experience there that can be tapped, to drive, projects, within that segment. So let me pause here for now. I'm sure the participants and viewers, they have questions, they have comments. We would like to respond to those comments and questions, as we go on. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. So the next contributory speaker for our program today, Export for Survival, the role of the commodity exchange, is Christopher Oche-Echiko. Who is he? He's a managing partner CEO of Colus Commodities and Services Company Limited, and is based in Abuja. He has previously worked in Benue Cement Company and was a panel staff of Abuja Stock Exchange that commenced operations in 1999. He recently disengaged from our Nigerian Commodity Exchange, NCX, as General Manager for Corporate Communications and Strategy. Mr. H, who has attended various courses on commodity exchange operations in Nigeria, China, India, Uganda, South Africa, and Kenya, is a member of several professional associations, including Commodity Brokers Association of Nigeria, CBAN. He attended University of Calabar and University of Jos and holds a master's degree in public administration from Benue State University. I hereby welcome you to Talking Trade and Investment Global. Please, you have 10 minutes on the clock. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lady K. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. As has been stated, I am a pioneer staff of Nigeria Commodity Exchange. It was then Abuja Commodity Exchange from 2002 when it became a commodity exchange. So I really have a ringside, in fact, an insider's insight into the operation of the commodity exchange in Nigeria, being the pioneer commodity exchange in Nigeria. Alhaji Kontagora has dwelt on a lot of issues, so I will not need to repeat them. But suffice it to say that there are a lot of issues that need to be addressed, and urgently so, if we want to achieve the objective of improving export of the relevant commodities, be it agricultural, be it solid minerals, be it services from Nigeria to the hungry export destination, the hungry destination markets right across the world. Again, to quickly say that while not meaning to go into issues that have already been raised, I want to focus on one issue that I believe is fundamental towards achieving the set objective of this webinar. I think there is a serious deficit in the area of brokerage. Brokerage, to my mind, is a fundamental and foundation plank in the needed infrastructure of a virile commodity exchange. Aggregation, as you know, is what will power any viable market. If the products don't get to the market, if the services are not known, they cannot be traded, and so benefits cannot accrue from the trading. And so, yes, there have been efforts to set up brokerages, social associations in Nigeria, but the truth is they are not working at the moment. Now, brokerage in this instance means setting up the mechanism for aggregating produce and products from right across the country in such a way that critical volumes can be efficiently aggregated and so can be brought to the marketplace or to the consumer, as the case might be. I know another word for brokerage is middleman, and it's a dirty word, quote unquote, in some circles, but it can also be a positive coinage, because in Nigeria especially, and I dare say in most developing economies, producers are usually smallholder actors. Nigeria, for instance, for umpteen years now, we keep saying 70% of our producers are smallholder farmers and operators. So that segment needs to be organized in such a way that their output can be efficiently gathered and then brought to the commodities, in which all of us will agree is the most efficient form for marketing of commodities. So where brokers are located in every nook and cranny of this country, where they are empowered, they have the wherewithal to meet with farmers since they are local operators. They know the farmers, they know the producers, they can efficiently organize them, maybe through group associations, maybe through cooperatives, name it. But brokerage is a critical plank that needs to be worked upon if we want to improve on the marketing and trading of commodities from Nigeria. The benefits of brokerage, I'm sure from what the people have said so far, is very obvious. The number one is to help organize the small bits of production into useful and critical masses for trading. They will also help the producers to improve this by way of backward integration now. They can help once the farmer is assured of an off-taker, in this instance now, his immediate broker. He would encourage him or her to do more by way of production. Also, other players by inference will benefit from this primary function. The exporter is assured of access, of course, through the commodity exchange, the food processor is assured of year-round supply, of course, again, through this broker. And then name it, the traders, entrepreneurs, the small scale, the SMEs, name them. They now will be assured of organized supply of needed inputs for their businesses. And of course, we know that the nation is the overall beneficiary of this improvement, because as this critical segment of the economy is improving, of course, the GDP is improving. Let me rest my case at this point.
Thank you so very much. Meanwhile, if Mr. Kontagora has any addition or any of the two speakers, please, can you do that at this moment? Mr. Kontagora?
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I just want to elucidate on the point Mr. Roland has mentioned as regard to the commodity platform across the state. I was the pioneer director general of Niger State Commodity and Export Promotion Agency. The whole idea of setting the agency is to have a structure that will coordinate and develop these commodities for markets. Now, looking at what is happening at the federal level, have Nigerian Commodity Exchange. They need a structure at the state level. Each state needs to have an agency that will coordinate and strategize and make sure that those commodities are there, so that the commodity exchange will create the platform to trade and market those commodities. I gave you the example of what happened in Zamfara State. If other states, neighboring Zamfara, has keyed into the program, it could have been a success. Of course, we could have lived on we will have generated a lot of revenue, both the federal and state government. But today, what is happening? I give you an example. At that time, while I was a DG, with the support of United UNDP, I was able to carry a baseline survey. We study a market called Malaga Market. That commodity market, every Saturday, today is Saturday, the volume of transaction from that market is over 2 billion naira every Saturday. And we have a lot of them in Nigeria, in so many communities. But because they are not coordinated, who guess what? Nobody, the government doesn't get revenue. The farmers being short-changed. You go to these kind of markets, and this is a market that can have even a trading flow. If you are to invest in just establishing warehouses in those kind of market, commodity market, there will be a lot of revenue. I met a buyer that came to that market with 100 million naira cash. He risked coming to this kind of market with that large chunk of money. And you see 120 million, 30 million, 50 million. And you see buyers across. There are some that come from our neighboring countries to come and buy cows and what have you. Now, if this system is organized, such kind of market is supposed to operate with all the necessary facility, with all the necessary communication gadget, and then they have appointed agent with all the warehouses, so that we can continue to be trading, and then there will be an organized and efficient transportation system. That way, everybody within the ecosystem will have things doing. And of course, the one thing about the commodity market that you are guaranteed, you are sure of getting right quality at quantity. There is always issue of traceability with export market. The rules of origin will apply. And indeed, if there are issues, you can easily trace where that commodity comes from. So it is very important. I will still emphasize on the need to have more and more support on the basic infrastructure, and then of course the structure. If every state, I could recall that was a DG, I made an attempt. That time we made a presentation to the Northern Governors Forum. We said, okay, if the Northern Governors Forum can adopt it, we can have different commodity exchange across the north. I can give you an example. In India now, virtually every state in India have their own commodity exchange. We can do some. We can do some. We can do more than that. The whole idea is add value to your commodities, rely on it, see this business as a dignifying profession, encourage our people at the grassroots for them to continue to be doing this business, for them to continue to be farming, so that we can trade this commodity and make a lot out of it. Thank you.
And thanks to the various speakers. Now, I have seen the technical depth of this presentation. I am trying, my comment is going to be to try to bring it down to the participants here and to potential exporters using the commodities exchange. Why the commodities exchange? Federal government expended, I believe, huge sums of money to install silos in every state capital in Nigeria. I am not sure that any of these silos has actually been, used as storage for excess harvest or anything. So I would like to know if Mr. Kontagora and his team are in discussion or have it as part of their plan to take over these silos such that, that's the next point I want to bring up now. There is what we call buyer of last resort or buyer of first resort. Mr. Kontagora mentioned guaranteed minimum price, but this also goes hand in hand with the boom-bust cycle. If the farmers can't find a market, there's every likelihood that next planting season, they will not go to the farm for that particular commodity. So all of this tend to link to the value chain approach that Mr. Roland was talking about. Fantastic. So what will the commodities exchange? I think this is where the issue of the role comes in. How does the commodity exchange position itself to become the buyer of either first or last resort, so that the farmer knows that whatever happens, the commodities, value-added, intermediate or semi-processed will be bought at a fair price. Because again, there's the problem of local buying agents or licensed buying agents, whichever you call them, LBAs, who will make the profit at the expense of the farmer. So on this level also, I think that COMEX has a role to play. And finally, the Nigeria Export Promotion Council's mantra of export for survival is at the beginning, most likely at the drafting stage, where concepts and ideas like the role of the COMEX need actually to be fused into whatever vision Dr. Yakusak and his team have for a non-oil export-driven economy. And I've been wondering, the zero oil plan that the last administration of NEPC presented as the export strategy, I am not too sure that there was any role farmed out for the commodities exchange. So I think that beyond talking in fora like this and stuff, I think it is part of the homework that Mr. Kontagora and his team need to do to present or to draft their concept note and to present an argument as to why commodities exchange is or must be a part and parcel of any export strategy or policy or plan that Nigeria wants to embark upon. I'll stop here for now. Thank you.
Okay, let me just jump in quickly, if you don't mind. This is Roland Oro again.
Please put your video.
Okay, all right. So let me just jump in quickly, just to piggyback on the point that Mr. Boyede has raised. Excellent points. So I think, first of all, let's get it very clearly that the commodity exchange does not buy products. They don't buy produce. It's just a platform where buyers and sellers come to do trade, and the dealers and the traders on the trading floor they follow certain laid down rules and regulations that ensure that quality is enforced, standardization is in place, and both parties, both the buyers and the sellers, they get the value for money. The question that everybody's asking is, okay, why are we not there yet? What are the issues? And the issue clearly is because we have not adopted a value chain approach, that is from production to market approach. That's one. And number two, we have not supported the farmers. We've not adopted a farm development approach, in the sense that the farmers in Nigeria are smallholder farmers. They are subsistence farmers. What does that mean? They are producing for their own immediate needs. So quality is not an issue for them. It's not a priority for them. And cost efficiency is not there. So most times the cost of production and the cost of aggregation is way so high that it renders the commodity exchange almost useless, because of a lot of inefficiencies along the value chain. I mentioned earlier on about the yield level. Nigeria has one of the lowest yield level in the whole world. I can tell you that. Look at it. I can tell you. Cassava, we are the largest producer of cassava in the whole world, but our yield is one of the lowest. I can go on and on. In products that will have the potential to be the top 10, but in terms of the yield, some of these productions are just happening, in the wild. They're actually just happening by coincidence. Take Shea, for instance. Even though we will have the largest number of shea trees in the world, our yield is low. Our picking, our collections is very low. So we've not really organized our primary production segment. That is the truth. We need to go back and organize it. We need to put a lot of support to the farmers. We need to have local development plans. The local government areas must organize farm to. They should invest in farm to market roads, infrastructure that supports primary production. Until all that is taken care of, the organized marketing, will remain to be an issue. But good enough, now that we have investors that are coming on board, we hope that will drive the market, will drive production, which is how it ought to be, So I think adopting a value chain approach is important. So you look at it from end to end, and that is one of the problems that we've had. The leaders of the commodity exchange, they sat in their offices waiting for products to come to the exchange. No, there has to be networking, there has to be coordination within agencies, within ministries, between the Ministry of Trade and Ministry of Agriculture. They have to be planned. There have to be coordination. There have to be roadmaps, for how we're going to develop the value chains. And of course, the role of the exchange will play very strongly. So let me stop there for now.
Okay.
Well, if I may come in, just to further buttress your point, I believe there is the need for Nigeria, for the commodity exchanges and the Export Promotion Council to synergize. It is very important. One, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council normally receive requests. They have access to market. They also do market survey, which means they have the market, while the commodity exchange have the commodities. Now, in the regional days, when we have regional government, when we have the 4 regional marketing board, we used to have a Nigerian marketing company, which I believe now is the President of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council. So they work hand in hand, they synergize. So looking at a institution whereby the 2 agencies will synergize. And then number 2, yes, commodity exchange may not be buying, but they also have a program. Sometimes you have some of the investors coming up with a program like the Warehouse Receipt Financing Scheme. The Warehouse Receipt Financing Scheme is essentially for the farmers to farm immediately after harvest. They know where their market is. They will go and deposit it. They will begin issued a receipt just to serve the farmer, just to give the farmer that comfort that yes, you can farm, but even if there is glut, somebody can buy, someone is there to invest in it and keep. When the right time comes for him to sell, he will sell. Where you need some money, you'll be given money. So with the, as I said, it's an organized structure. It's an organized system that, yes, everybody will have labor across, will have value across the entire value chain. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so very much. I can see a hand up. Oh, the hand is down now. There was a hand up before. Maybe the person got the answer needed. Now I see another hand. John Isemide.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
So the truth of the matter is that we need proper coordination. And first and foremost, we have to thank the government for stopping the Asians from taking over the business. And the issue of commodity board is not thing that Nigeria should be discussing at this point. And we can go back to history, what led to the abolition in 1986, part of the IMF conditionalities. There are things we can do at home. And with the commodity board coming up close to about 20 years ago, what structure have you built? These are some of the things we are saying that the private sector should not be at the back seat. And you can see what our president is driving concerning this project. And in seminar, in workshop, in places like this, we have the private sector at the back, and the government officials and all that are not into business dictating what we're supposed to do. At least we need to be blocks and cover the gaps. This is my own little contribution. Targets should be given to the private sector. Government officials are regulators, and they should not do things that is making us to laugh as if some of us are the worst people on earth. We can compete, we can engage any part of the world if we have the structure to adopt this business. Thank you.
One major thing that keeps reoccurring is about structure. And from this quote, you see, everyone has their greatness, their own greatness. Whether you reach your own greatness depends on your environment, your structure, the company you keep, and your attitude. Mr. Femi Boyede, are you ready now? You want to say something, Mr. Boyede? Mr.
Yes. I had actually wanted to latch onto what John Isemede has said, which is very, very true. And I actually don't think that we are at the level of us versus them. I think from what Dr. Yakusa tried to do, and the message he amplified last time was of an administration, his administration, that welcomes inputs and contributions from every angle. That's the reason why I was suggesting to Mr. Kontagora and his team that the earlier they sought audience and the platform to engage with the NEPC, the better, so that they can actually present the benefits of working together. I was at the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment yesterday. We're discussing the possibility of having something on agriculture in Nigeria sometime before the end of this year. And I was very, very excited to see that even at the ministry level, they are very, very excited and ready to synergize. Let me borrow Mr. Kontagora's word, to synergize with all relevant stakeholders to make sure that this happens. For us at Talking Trade, this will be our take-home value. We'll be happy that we have provided a platform where these kinds of partnerships, collaborations, and engagements take place. And of course, Nigeria remains a government-led economy. As a government-led economy, the private sector will continue to be the engine of economic growth and development, but will rely on the government to kickstart the engine. The ignition is with the government. And this is the reason why we all have to, whatever ideas we have, we all have to find a way, even fight our way to ensure that those who need to hear and make use of our brilliant ideas, that they do get access to these ideas. Thanks very much.
Thank you so very much, Alfred Boyede, for the contribution. I think okay, Bukola, okay, is next. I just readmitted Bukola. Okay, I think it has to do with the internet connection. Okay, thank you for putting on your video and for unmuting yourself. You're on mute currently. Please unmute yourself, Bukola. Okay.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Sorry, I have issue with the internet here.
No problem. You have 1 minute.
All right. My question goes to the president, the Shea Butters. In Oyo State here, we have more than enough share trays. We have processors. But the kind of support that they are having in Niger State, we are not leveraging it at this site. I can see the manufacturing sectors and then the industry that are springing up at that place. So my own take is this: can he help us to have such kind of leverages in the Southwest here? Thank you.
Well, incidentally, we are not talking about share today. I'm here as a commodity broker. However, I will say something. I don't know who we are relating with, because I know we have an active chapter in Oyo State. Even recently, there was training by Nigerian Export Promotion Council about 2 weeks ago. And we have some processing centers that were produced. And so I have somebody very, very active, one of our own member. She works a lot with the Women Cooperative in Oyo State. And of course, we have a large processing factory in Shagamu. So I don't know, maybe you need to do some work. However, I will link you up with our Oyo State chapter coordinator so that you can relate well with him. Thank you. You can inbox me so that we can further continue talking on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bukola, for the question. And you can see part of the advantages of joining Talking Trade webinars is you're actually able to reach the person at the helm of affairs. Congratulations, you are getting answer to your challenges. The next hand I have up is Adamu Gambo. Is your video on and your hello, Adamu Gambo, are you there?
Hello, Mutu Lady. Hey, thank you for giving me the chance to speak.
You're welcome.
Yes, I must express my appreciation to Token Trade for always championing the cause of non-oil exports in this country. Mine is a comment on my president, Mr. Boyede. He made mention about the ministry's concern to collaborate with other agencies to promote or for the export business in this country. You see, there are two things from the government side. One, policy formulations, but where we have issues and challenges are in the implementation. And then the level of seriousness from where such concepts were developed. We were victims of so many fantastic concepts that we believe can move this country forward. Now, I always appreciate staff and management of Nigerian Export Promotion Council. You see, Mr. Ezra always mentioned about staff having a kind of business or private sector mindset. I'm a living witness to that. I've been collaborating with staff, most especially in the Northwest, and I can see the kind of agility, the kind of zeal they have in promoting export in that region. Lest you forget, Lady K, there is even an invitation that was extended to by virtue of such collaboration on an export program in Sokoto, which is coming up, I believe, on Tuesday. So that is one. And then the second is to Kontagora. Yes, the idea of this commodity is a very nice one, but I always told us there is a particular layer in that value chain that we need to harness or to incorporate whatever it takes, or however we are going to design the architecture of that. I remember vividly the Abuja Commodity Exchange that is in Kano here. I sat down one time with the MD, I discussed with him, look, if we want to make any progress, we must consider who are the major players in that space. And then the major players in that space, they have a kind of entirely different mindset from what the concept of that commodity is all about. And then there is no deliberate effort or design to bring them on board or to integrate with them. It was then I suggested to him, we went and met the major players in Dawano. We sat down with them. We said, look, we need to drop down from the altitude of our high-level English and come down and see how are we going to get this thing, these major players to understand this concept and get them and onboard them. So, Kontagora, I think, what are we doing towards that? Because that is one of the major success factors that I believe if we could be able to integrate, then obviously commodity exchange is going to improve tremendously. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Please, we have 2 other hands up. We have 1 minute each. This hand I see says Galaxy Tab. Can you please identify yourself? Tell us your name, where you are calling from. Unmute yourself. You are currently muted. Galaxy Tab. That is what I see. I don't see your name.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, am I not allowed to speak now?
Please, you are allowed to speak. Please, can you identify yourself?
Okay. My name is Shea Ibrahim from Kano.
Thank you. Go ahead, 1 minute.
Okay, thank you very much. Actually, I'm very sorry I joined the
We're only seeing your cap.
Yes, and I appreciate the discussion very well. And I want to talk specifically on trading in commodities, especially export through the commodity exchange. This is a very important topic, and it's a topic that I am really interested in. But my concern is that though I have joined the meeting lately, I've not heard what the presenter have said about how this export trade can take place through the exchange. But my expectation is that I want to see a situation whereby the conventional trading that is taking place in Doano is transformed in such a way that this export trade is taking place through the exchange. But how is it going to take place through the exchange? I didn't hear what the presenter have said, but my expectation is that for a trading to happen through the exchange, the commodity have to be in a warehouse where it has been assayed, graded, and all the qualities requirements for any exporter is there. But in the current situation, you know, the warehousing infrastructure is not available. The assaying and the rest of it are not available. So I expect that the organizers of this kind of commodity trading ecosystem should seek the support of the government, whereby this kind of trade takes place through the exchange, but a provision has to be made for the warehousing infrastructure and the legal and operating framework, especially the instruments for the trading and the rest of it. So I have expected to hear more on how this trading can take place through the exchange. As a commodity broker who is a member of the Commodity Brokers Association, and I also learned that the presenter is also a member of the Commodity Brokers Association. I had also expected that he should be prominent in participating in the activities of the Commodity Brokers Association, so that all these things that we are talking about now comes into fruition, because we have exchanges now, but the operating framework, the legal framework, the operating framework, the warehousing infrastructure, the instruments are not yet available for smooth trading through the exchange. So that's my take. Yes, that's my take, and I want to hear the comments of the presenter and the contributors on this issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Madam Elizabeth Nwaku, you are next. Please.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, madam. Nice to see you here.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Boyede. Thank you, everyone on the panel. Thank you, my president, Mr. Kontagora. It's an honor to be on the platform. And Mr. Ora, this is Elizabeth from Ibadan. Yes, please. I just want us to look at commodities in terms of post-harvest management and storage. If we can handle that bit very well, it will help whatever we are using the commodity for, either for production or for export directly. In the case of Shea kernel, when the women finish the fruit to kernel, they are forced to sell to Benin Republic because they need their money immediately. They need their money immediately. But if we have an arrangement where we buy off those seeds from them at that moment on a daily basis and we warehouse it, that will give us a better position in the shea industry. Also in other commodity as well, there are lots of silos in the nation owned by the federal government lying fallow that we could make use of as storage, and at the end of the day we could have the post-harvest properly managed so that there is no moisture that will lead to aflatoxin or things that could lead to disqualification of our products when they go outside. That's the little I want to contribute. Good afternoon, everyone.
Can I go ahead? Well, I don't want to be accused for promoting share on this platform that we are tracking commodity excellence. However, I'm happy when the last speaker mentioned about the challenges associated with shea butter. It's not only about shea butter. It's not, these challenges are not synonymous with shea butter. It's virtually all our commodities. The issue is we need basic infrastructure at the grassroots. It is very, very important. A woman will trek long distance to the bush, pick the nut, transport it on her head. By the time she comes to a hamlet, she doesn't have storage facility to store it. So when she parboil, when she wants to parboil, start processing, she parboil, she sun-dry, she do husk, and then she quickly sell it. She has to because she doesn't have the basic infrastructure. She doesn't have the storage facility. So every commodity needs the basic infrastructure. We need a basic. The difference between us and Ghana is that every producing community where you have that they have this basic infrastructure. So government, as a matter of policy, especially development financial institution, must do a deliberate policy such that we are not saying that government should be giving us grant. No, let's treat these activities as a business. Let's because market-driven approach. There is market demand for all these our commodities. So give us such a facility, a long-term facility, a single-digit rate, so that the women have a basic infrastructure in their communities, and then they will continue to be producing while we are linking them up with the market. So it's the same thing. Now, the last speaker, even though we have talked a lot on the operation of commodity exchange, again, he talks about the warehouse. It is the same issue. I want him to, luckily he's in Kano State, he's in Adwana. I will advise him to go to Gezawa Commodity and say, commodity exchange. He will see a proper setting for trading of commodity exchange. It has everything needed. All it needs is the backward integration with the farmers and what have you. So we need that structure so that they will continue to be feeding those commodity exchange. I told you, Lagos have one. We have Nigerian Commodity Exchange. So we have so many, and that will come out very soon. But I will also advise the government that the regulatory bodies should set a target, should set a sort of guideline. For you to have a commodity exchange, you must have ABCD. And then those people within the ecosystem of the commodity exchange or the trading must also be given a sort of facility that will actualize the trading of this commodity through the commodity exchange. Once again, of course, the silos. We know that there are a lot of silos scattered around. Last time I checked, most of those commodity silos were given out to other persons. I don't know how the federal government does that, but I knew that through Federal Minister of Agriculture, they've given out most of those silos. So to whom are they given? how can they be used for the trading of the commodity at the commodity exchange? Very important. We should be able to define that. Thank you.
Okay. Can I jump in quickly, please? This is Roland Oro here.
Okay. 2 minutes is okay?
Yes, 2 minutes is okay.
Thank you. And your camera.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I mean, a lot has been said, and I don't want us to lose the key points here. And I'd like to emphasize one very important point. And in fact, my colleague here, Chris, we were talking about it. Mr. Boyede, I think one of the key takeaways from this conversation today is that, look, there need to be a communication to the government to strengthen the middle point, which is the brokers. That point is the missing link right now. That's where we have the breakdown. And if there's anything we can take away from this effort today, is to make a very clear communication to Ministry of Agriculture and Ministry of Trade and Investment to work with relevant agencies and government, the CBN and the Sovereign Wealth Investment Authority. How can we capacitate the brokers so that they can play the role of extension provision? They provide extension support to farmers to strengthen our production. At the same time, they can aggregate and put in warehouse the products that we want to trade on the commodity exchange. And then the commodity exchange can work with them, to have these products traded on the floor of the exchange, and buyers can come to the floor to get this product. So going forward, we think that there should be a policy program to really support the brokers, or if you like, aggregators, by way of requesting for, or by way of incentivizing very capable private sector entities to come and invest in that segment, so that they can play the role of providing organizing farmers into clusters, providing them extension support, and making sure they have access to critical inputs, and then once the production is done, they can aggregate it, put it in the warehouse. They can also implement the warehouse receipt systems, so that there's enough liquidity for the farmers.
Thank you.
And that becomes a channel for attracting additional funds into primary production. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. I'm going to allow the remaining 2 people to speak consecutively now, and then we have the final comments. We are rounding up soon, so sit tight. Thank you, everybody. Ogbodo Okechukwu, unmute yourself, please. And you have 1 minute.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity. Sorry, I've been on and off. I'm having an internet issue here. Please, I want to ask, please, to the commodity man, Mr. Ahmed Kontagora, is there any of these such projects in the Southeast at all? Because if there is, it will help most of us that want or prospective commodity buyers to, it will help us not to be having this risk of going to the north to get our products or something. Is there any of such product around Southeast? If there is, please, can you let us know? Thank you.
Thank you so very much for making it very brief. It's going to answer you with this last question. Ibrahim Maliki, I see your hand up. Ibrahim Maliki. Unmute yourself, please.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Is your video on? If it's on,
yes, let me check.
If it's on, that would be wonderful. If not,
yes, I think it's on.
Okay.
Thank you. I want to thank the speaker. He's an encyclopedia of the commodity ecosystem and his team. The team has done very well. I just want to add that from what the team suggested now, I think the key point we should take home here is that the commodity broker should be strengthened. And in addition, while the speaker was speaking, he told us that in Ethiopia, why they succeeded was that the government add a policy that if you have more than 5 tons, the farmers, they take it to the exchange. If that is implemented too in Nigeria, it will really help. Like the Dawanu market and other international market, people just go and buy. But if you have those that have more than 5 tons, they will go to the exchange. The Gaza Commodity Exchange is an international commodity exchange, but it's not been used, even the Nigerian Commodity Exchange. So it's a key policy issue that the team can still pursue to the NEPC and other stakeholders. Strengthen the commodity brokers and the policy statement. All farmers with more than 5 tons should go to the commodity exchange. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. So now I allow, if Mr. Kontagora and the team, if they have answers to the last 2 speakers.
Okay, let me answer the second to the last speaker. He asked if there is of any of that platform in the southeast or the southern Nigeria. Let me say it. The commodity exchange is supposed to operate virtually across the globe. What you need is a trading flow with all the necessary communication, gadget, and then with appointed agent who can trade, can buy. You can sit in the comfort of your room and buy from the commodity exchange. That's the beauty of it. That will remove all the risk of you traveling from far and near to come and buy. You can sit in your home, in your office, in your home, and then trade, buy, and then the next thing it is delivered to your place. So the system is to serve not only for Nigeria, but all about other international communities. So if the system works, I think if we're able to develop the system that is supposed to be, I think it will work for all of us. It will save a lot of all these hazardous traveling and what have you. And it will save a lot of people the risk of being on the road always. Because I can tell you, as I said earlier, in one of the commodity markets in Mariga, I saw a buyer with cash 100 million naira. He traveled from far east and far south to come to that market. And it is happening on daily basis. It's happening on daily basis. But with the advent of commodity exchange, you don't need to do that. You can sit in the comfort of your house, you trade, exchange, and then you pay, and then you also get delivery. Of course, it is very important. I think it's one of the discussions we had prior to now with, at the CDI, Commodity Development Initiative, is looking at the possibility of trying to see how we can support the CBAN. Commodity Brokers Association of Nigeria actually supposed to be up and doing, though it needs to be strengthened. So we are looking for to see the possibility of coming up with a way forward. So in actual fact, the CBAN is supposed to drive this industry because they are the players, they are the active players. They're supposed to tell the government, give the policy direction, and then, of course, drive the policy direction of the government on this thing. So it's a welcome development. We'll be able to do that. And then you will recall in my presentation, I also talk of lack of the necessary law backing the commodity exchange. It is very important. I remember the bill on the White House Finance Scheme is still with the National Assembly for years. I wish they can pass it, which means we can easily talk, we can issue warehouse receipt and what have you. So yes, we have to continue doing that. We have to strengthen the CBAN for them to continue to drive this sector. Thank you all.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Kontagora and the team. Femboyede, are you there?
I'm very much here.
Your video is off.
I'm there.
Okay. Can you please do the vote of thanks, and we just do a bit of announcement after that?
Thank you very much. And to first and foremost to Mr. Kontagora and his team for opening our eyes to another direction along the non-oil export value chain. And we are hopeful, as most of you know, those who are conversant with our approach here, very soon the video recording for this will be on, and I will share with you via your emails. You have the presentations, and as well, we'll have a flip book that comes up. But more importantly, key points have been raised here today, which Talking Trade and Investment Global will amplify even further in the coming weeks. As you know, we usually do, these conclusions will be shared with agencies and parastatals that we deem relevant to the discussion, just to complement the advocacy efforts of Mr. Kontagora and his team also, and to expand by our now, I mean the admin and all of us here, contribution to changing the face and increasing the share of Nigerian exporters in international trade. I want to thank you very much for taking time to attend. And I know Lady K will do that individually, but I want to thank this wonderful, I always say that I'm the most blessed man on earth right now, with the team that I have that so conscientiously and committedly these webinars to our tables once every month. We want to encourage you, I would want to encourage you to join me clapping for them. So, Shea, are we taking a photograph? Thank you all very much. We appreciate. And Lady K, I'm handing over back to you for right now announcements.